We have a couple more. Morning and welcome. We'll call this meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda, and also ask that we add an item for ice melt, the consideration of ice melt. If we put that under new business D, please.
I'll approve the agenda with the proposed change.
Motion from Bill. Second from Bruce. Any discussion, questions, additions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Public comment.
Welcome. Thanks for being here again.
Approval of minutes from our August 13 meeting.
That motion.
Motion from Sammy. Thank you.
I'll second.
Second from Deanna. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Annual compiled financial report. Jacobs and McDougal.
Good morning. For those of you that I don't know, I'm Chris McDougal from Richards and McDougal. We've been doing your financial statements for a couple of years now. We'll be doing them for the next couple of years also. So we appreciate working with everyone over at the chamber. They're great to work with. They do a great job getting everything in there so we get the financial statements to you timely. So we appreciate that.
Thank you for working with us.
So, yeah. Just to kind of go over, I grabbed the June 30th one just to do year end, just so we can kind of compare from prior year on where we're at on stuff. So the first two pages are just our normal GAAP report saying we're doing your financial statements. So our first main page is the general fund balance sheet. Going through your checking accounts, the amounts were down about $31,000 from prior year, but we had more expenses than prior year. So that was expected. Our prepaid expenses are the same. Due from downtown dollars, prior year was $6,700, so very comparable. Going down to your accounts payable, those were up about $29,000 from the prior year. You had two big bills right at year end from Dwelling Realty for about $27,000 and Spicer Group for $21,000. So right at year end, we had a couple of big accounts payable that are paid now. So no concern there. Our fund balance was up a little bit, was up from prior year about $80,000 because in the prior year we had income of $80,000. So flipping to the next page is our revolving loan fund balance sheet. That's kind of done now. We had to have it on there still through year end until we got that down to a zero balance, but that's that word that you guys don't have on there no more. And then the next page is your downtown dollars fund, pretty basic on that. Money comes in, money comes out. So your checking account's at $142 to do general fund, $7,200 matches your general fund over there. So going over to your statement of activities. Your first major item was your interest income. That was up about $31,000. Moving that money over to the Michigan class definitely was a smart move and earned it interest over there. So that was really a good thing to move it over there. Going to your grants, those were down about $75,000, but in the prior year you had the restoration grant, so that's to be expected. Your tip revenue was actually up almost $46,000 from prior year, along with the delinquent taxes were up about $26,000. So that was a nice little boost in income on those. The enhanced city service agreement, those expenses were actually down $37,000. Most was paid to them. So that was a little bit of a savings. The grant program was expenses were down, but the income was down. You did some in the prior year. So that was to be expected. Downtown decorations, those expenses were actually up almost $16,000, but you guys had the DDA event trailer that had more expenses on there, so it all made sense on that to get that going. In the grant program, again, those expenses were down. A lot of that was spent in the prior year. The rest of the expenses on the page are very comparable to the prior year. Flipping over to the back page, your engineering fees, those were down about $48,000 in the prior year. You had more expenses to the, I'm gonna kill their name, but Blyce Vanderbrink, you had more expenses there. The revolving loan program, that $29,000, that was, you guys kind of went over the DDA and the Venture North. Kind of took that over, so we have that on there. That's more of like a transfer note, so we could get it off the balance sheet on there. And then your biggest expense for the year is your Riverwalk Plaza. You had the contribution for the Riverwalk of $240,000, which overall made us at a loss of $108,000. Prior year, we had a gain of $79,000. So, I mean, there was a lot, but you guys had budgeted for that. I expected that. So that was a good contribution to the community. So we did end up at a loss, but nothing to be concerned about. I mean, we still our fund equity is still good, our cash flow is still good. That was kind of money that was set aside for that, so it's not a concerning thing that there was a loss, it just shows that you guys are putting more back into the community, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. So, overall, you know, we had a little bit extra income in tip, revenue, delinquent taxes, interest income was great. And then our major expenses were that river walk. Overall, everything looks good. Budgeting is going good. Getting all the information there, getting the financial statements is going well, so. Any questions on that? That's kind of a quick overview, but that's just kind of our difference between the 2 years, so. They're an easy group, I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sort of paraphrasing too. It kind of helps keep things in perspective when you do the comparisons from previous year and
Yeah.
you clearly understand the program as well, so thank you.
Okay.
And thanks to Nicole and the rest of the chamber
She does
staff.
a great job getting us the stuff right at the first on the first, so we can get everything out to you by Friday, so.
No doubt.
If anyone has any questions during the year, we're right down the road, give me a call, stop by and see me, we're happy to help with anything we can.
Awesome.
Thanks for working with us again.
Hey, no problem, thank you. All right, you guys have a great day. I'm gonna speak
You
now.
too.
No approval needed for that, right? Just, report. Okay. Moving on to approval of financials from August.
Alrighty, so this month we have $27,227.97 that has been signed already. That was an increase. I sent out the change yesterday just because we got 2 last minute invoices that I wanted to sneak in here, one being for the audit company and then the other one being for Urban Vinyl for the new downtown banners. So I didn't want to make them wait a month. Other ones are the Eagle, that downtown promotion, that was 500. We have Right Side Design for 2,500. That is just finishing up for their services for the streetscape plan. We're reimbursing the River Street Marketplace for their facade grant, Ruta Blush for their facade grant. And then we had Shine come back out and repair some lights down by the marina, so that's in there. And then the city of Manistee, as stated in the last meeting, if that last pedestrian sign was not covered by the person who damaged it, it would come back to us having to cover it. So we are reimbursing the city for that last sign. And then just a quick update, the West Shore Bank account balance as of September 12th had $384,996.29. We've had some pretty large TIF deposits this month. And so I'm going to work with Carmen to get some of that transferred into Michigan class.
Good. Thank you. Any questions for Nicole? Or Andrew? Motion to approve. Motion from
I'm
Bruce?
sorry,
Okay.
quick question.
You
On
can
that
move
West
forward.
Shore account, that 349,000, does the downtown dollars promotion come out of that?
That has a separate sub account.
Okay.
So we have a sub account for the downtown dollars and then the 389,000 is our main fund.
So just making sure that because I know there's quite a few dollars with that promotion out there and making sure that
It's
You
just
got
moving money around.
it's just moving
Yeah.
money around you. Okay, that's my only question.
Michigan class, it's like a 3 to 5 business day. We can pull it back out if we need some help.
Okay, that's my only question.
Thank you. Motion to approve. Motion from Bruce,
Second.
Second from Sammy, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Andrew, executive report.
Yeah, so August, just want to start off and noting that I was out for a week in August, traveling, and so numbers might look just a little down on that, report, having only 14 contacts. But, some key projects that I just want to really note, the music vault's officially closed. So it's under new ownership now, which is extremely exciting, and had a lot of conversation with the new owner regarding how can we improve the facade pretty much as quick as possible. And so that's his priority. He understands that. He's eager to make some big exterior changes. And once the exterior is kind of put together, the interior activation, especially of the second floor, might not be as quick. You know, that's gonna be a longer process, but he understands how the building impacts the community is specifically, having that, if we can get the sign down and, do some window replacements and just get the building looking cleaner, is really critical just right away. And so really looking forward to the progress we'll see on that building in the next couple of months here. And again, from some of the conversations we had, that could be subdivided into two separate commercial spaces on that primary facade along River Street, which will be excellent, give us some more new commercial space for some new tenants downtown. This month, we did have one new business owner, Andrea Fields. She's been placed in the River Street Market, Robert Grass's property. Very exciting there. 308 River Street out by Spicer Group's property, still working with that property owner to fill his two spaces. There's been some movement on the lower half of that building. But the first floor is the vacant back half of the building that has the ramp that wraps around. That space has still been tricky to really fill because it hasn't been white box and it's just down to the studs and has an awkward floor plan. And so working with him in 3 West out of Traverse City to try to identify tenants and get somebody in that space. But again, it's tricky when it's not white boxed and kind of move-in ready. Additionally, got the chance to connect with 415 River Street. That's the vacant property across the way that also houses Lighthouse Title Group. Met with those property owners rather, got a tour of that vacant space and really started to have further conversation about what we can do to support them in finding tenants because they've had interest. They're a little more picky with who they want in their property. But that's one of the last move-in ready spaces. You might see in the report that our number went from 10 to 11. That's due to Inn's Bookshop, flooding incident that happened there kind of at the end of July, beginning of August. And so that bumped up that vacancy rate from 10 to 11. But outside of all the other vacancies we have downtown, that 415 and a half River Street was really one of the only vacancies that we still have that's move-in ready. But that's definitely going to take a fairly well-capitaled small business, if you will, to move into that space, given that the price they're asking for. And then 141 Washington Street's moving along pretty nicely right now. They've still have just continued doing stabilization work with the state land bank. I wish that Washington Street was open so people could actually see the progress that's happening down there. But that's moving along pretty nice, and we've been engaged in discussions with the developer and the construction company regarding end users for that space. Because again, that's going to be 2 to 3 commercial spaces depending on how they subdivide the first floor. But they have some good vision as to what could potentially go there, and they understand there has to be some brand ID as to whoever goes there to help draw foot traffic down Washington Street, because outside of that building, there's not a lot of trafficked commercial space on that stretch of Washington. So they have to justify pulling people down and getting them down there. So that's kind of my August report for you, Kyle.
Great, thank you. Thoughts or questions for Andrew?
The music vaults, are there planned uses or just development of the property?
Just
Or-
development of the
okay.
property. They don't have like end users identified yet. And so they're still they're getting all their ducks in a row to like engage an architect and start identifying, development firms to work with. So end users aren't top of mind as of right now. This is definitely more of like an investment property. They're not going to be the end user at the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
You know how to get a hold of Andrew if you need anything. Reports from the subcommittee.
So facade, Nicole kind of already hinted at it. We have a couple grant reimbursements. 390 River Street is the River Street Market, Robert Grass's property. That is in the amount of $9,000 for the awning and signage that they put up. It looks fantastic. It's really improved that primary facade, covering up those I-beams that were kind of just exposed for majority of the summer. And so really happy that we could support that project. The next one you see is Well Nested Address. We've been working with that business owner, and we are not reimbursing them right now. They were unable to get a couple of the invoices that were necessary for full reimbursement. And so they understand that that reimbursement is going to take place in our October meeting. But that project as a whole is almost done. You've probably all seen the great paint job that they got in that building and really has made it look sharp with some new windows, but there's some back half facade work that they're doing. That there's just some final touches that we need those invoices to do the full reimbursement. And then the 319.5 River Street, that's Bruta Blush Gallery, and those for the windows replacement, that was in the amount of $2,000 from us. And so glad we could also support them in that.
And any update on the Z's cart rental?
Not as of yet. I've been in constant communication with Randy regarding that property. And so we might run into some issues with having to pull back that contract if work doesn't start in the allotted amount of time. But that's something that they understand that. And so.
They have a deadline.
Yeah, they have a deadline under that contract saying they have to have that work completed within a year. And so that is kind of quickly approaching. And so they really have to start work here in the next couple of weeks, or it's really not gonna get done because they gotta have that work done by December. Obviously, we have the flexibility to adjust that deadline, but that's something for the subcommittee at a facade level to discuss whether or not that extension is appropriate and whether or not it's deserved.
How much did we approve for them?
It was 20,000 before it. The original ask was, I think, significantly more than that.
Yeah, I think an explanation, updated timeline.
Yeah.
is required to expand, but. Yeah. The subcommittee.
That's all on subcommit or facade grants. Moving on to streetscape.
So the streetscape committee has a wrap meeting this Friday to discuss the wrap grant and kind of just get a check in with the design. Lucas and Bill are working pretty hard to get the grant agreement from MEDC, get all the materials that they need over to MEDC to generate a grant agreement here. And so we've
Yeah, I met yesterday with Lucas. We got the final items together, so perfect. Good to go.
Okay, events. Go ahead.
So we have a event application from the Outsider. This is an extension, but somewhat of an extension of the car shows that they ran this summer for October. And obviously they don't have a signature sheet because that signature sheets for any business that are impacted by the shutdown. Where they shut down is at Event Plaza where there is no commercial use. And they're also not really requesting full road shutdown. They're requesting the parking spaces. And so we've already kind of approved the full street closure that they had last week for that car show that they held, or not that, it was two weeks ago. It was that they actually closed down that block and due to kind of unfortunate weather didn't take place. But this is them just requesting to reserve the parking spots. Chief Glass still wanted an application for that reservation of public parking spots. And so it'll go to city council if we make a motion to approve it. But again, this does not have anything to do with street closure
So
itself.
they're not requesting to close.
No, this is just the parking spots on that southern half of River Street and then the north half of Water Street along the triangle.
It's the Water Street that gives me pause. The space that's on offer, the public space that's on offer, is the part that we're gonna close eventually, the part that gets closed every year for the Christmas tree. That's the space that we're getting people used to using, not on Water Street. Water Street is for through traffic and to keep things moving, and not for events where people always cross the street to talk to one another. We want Water Street open. So the event parking along Water Street, I'm not inclined to go along with that. The original design was an approved street closure, which gives them both sides of the street on River Street. you know, and they can manage that space. It's not an improvement to change to Water Street parking.
Would you make the suggestion then to reserve the parking on southern and northern half of River Street?
Yes.
Then where if you look at this, you know, then it would just be the two orange marks along River.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I would actually rather have them close the street, not that it's up to us, but that's the original intent and that's an easy closure and it doesn't affect through traffic other than having to jog over to Water Street.
Mhm.
I can't imagine you would want to have an event with cars parked on north and south sides of River Street and not close that. And
Yeah.
so I agree with Bruce, but I would rather see them close it. I don't see that as an issue.
Okay.
But.
Okay. I will say John would like to hold these throughout all of October. Getting this to city council is, I guess, paramount from a timeline standpoint, if he is actually looking to execute these by October. And so is there anything that we want to maybe make contingent upon, like if we approve this, a contingent upon we're reconstructing?
Original, we're approving it for October for the original design,
Okay,
which is, you know, closing north and south sides of the street on River, reserving parking north and south side of River Street and closing the traffic.
yeah.
And rerouting down Water Street.
So
That's
John, yeah.
that's what we approved then, that's what we're approving
Yeah.
now.
and so John's original event request went, I don't believe it went all the way until October. And the reason he didn't request closing the street is because there was a monetary amount associated with closing the street that was more than he was expecting. And that's why he didn't request closing the street again, because paying for police time and DPW time ended up adding up and it was over $1,500 to close the street. And so he want to pay that again. And so that's why he went this route, just to give you some more context as well. And so I don't know if that changes.
I think the thing that's always been, for when Chief Glass approves these, he's looking at safety. He needs to make sure it's actually closed and people can't drive. We don't have the bollards in place yet. We don't have some things we talked about. So he has potentially staging vehicles and we have to make sure it's done properly. So I think he's been trying to work with John about potentially using his own vehicles to block, but someone needs to check and it's not, I think it's mainly the frequency of doing this and the plan is not, I don't think our police chief is comfortable with
It doesn't change my reaction. I mean, we're not involved with the costs of this, but I don't want to see. I see it as a real inconvenience for the show to take place on Water Street as well, when realistically it's going to look as if River Street's closed, as it should, because it's an event. And we don't want to push people all the way to First Street. So this is a natural detour that people use a lot. And like Bruce said, it's something that we're putting on offer and we're sort of trying to train. This is where events take place.
You don't want multiple traffic patterns for people to get used to. Right? That is going to create chaos. One traffic pattern, we close off, you know, River Street and make that plaza available. Every time we do something, right, then people don't get confused about where to go, what's available, what's not available. You know, and here I'm speaking as somebody who walks dogs around that area and deals with the people who are confused. And some who don't know what they're doing and don't really care. We need to be very consistent about the way that we handle traffic there.
So I guess until they find a good solution in terms of cost for closing River Street, another option could be just doing the one side of River Street, doing those parking spaces and just, you could have kind of a rotating group of cars, smaller group, but I was just throwing it out there as an idea. Not doing the Water Street parking, but just the one side of River.
Cal made a really good point when we were talking about this a little earlier. There's a lot of space. You could barricade all the way up, I'm gonna describe this wrong, extend that, it goes to a triangle, and there's a lot of space that's marked off in yellow there in front of that triangle. You can put barricades all along there and park more,
I see.
event cars along there. You see where I'm talking about, Bill?
Yeah, and I think that's another exposed area where a car could go flying through and hit pedestrians. I think that's kind of the main thing is for our issues concerned about, but we're kind of working through with this.
Yeah.
How does it make it safer to put cars on one side of the street and still have cars driving through?
Well, I guess the idea would be you wouldn't have people standing in the middle to check out both sides potentially, but they'd be checking out the car from the south side of the car.
I can tell because they're right outside my window. They park their car and they have conversations and walk across to the event space. If, if there is a street there, people will be standing in it, if there are cars on the other side. And the only way that it works is when we keep Water Street clean, and have everything confined to that area.
Also, this is just a recommendation from the DDA, that's all.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to weigh in on this? All right, where do we want to go on it? Anywhere?
Because I can communicate anything to John and Chief Glass, so if the desire is to close River Street or suggest that, recommend that to council. I can articulate that to John and Chief Glass and make sure that, hey, this is our recommendation, and then obviously it goes to city council as a recommendation for that to be the course of action.
Okay. How do we want to move on this?
Sound like both of you thought closing River Street's the best option.
Yeah,
Motion to do that.
Are you making a motion?
Oh, okay.
motion to suggest approval with the modification that, any of the event space be on River Street, not Water Street.
Get that
So
in the
not the
Yes.
closure though. So you said
So
all events be on
Closure
River
is
Street.
up to them.
Okay,
Closure is up to
but
them.
you just want that.
The operant, yeah, the operant, characteristic is no events on Water Street. So, no event vehicles on Water Street.
Okay.
So there's a motion from Bruce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Lindsay. Any further discussion? Get that, Nicole?
motion to suggest approval with the modification of no event carryover on Water Street.
Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks for the discussion. And then the TJ's black card.
And so I do want to note here that, Lindsay, love the ambition, by the way. Love that it's almost a full year in advance.
So I gotta get that band, it's that band from Florida, so they book a year in
Okay,
advance.
gotcha,
so-
yeah. And so the only thing, with this event application is there isn't a DDA event application attached to this. And so just in the form of transparency and consistency, making sure that we have that DDA application with the signatures before we make motions on this. Obviously, as we've done with other events in downtown, especially when it regards street closures of one of the main parts of River Street. And so just want to throw that out to the board that, yeah, this is incomplete in the sense of that there's not any insurance attached to it, and there's not signatures with the DDA application. So I just want to make sure that's we stay consistent with that process, and so we can
Yeah.
just touch base afterwards and make sure that we get that done for the October meeting.
Okay.
I approve contingent on getting the signatures and the completed DDA application portion.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, is that clear? Okay,
Just one discussion. So I did get some feedback about it was a great event. I did get some feedback about the bigger picnic tables and where they're staged. And I know we are working on that event trailer. was talking to Andrew yesterday at the staff meeting, there's maybe 2 foldable picnic tables, but I'm just wondering the thoughts on kind of expanding that. How many do you use? 6? So
I
what-
use 6, yep.
I wonder, I think we've invested in that event trailer. I think it would be nice to kind of be able to use that for, I think this is the type of event where that could be used. So
Are you suggesting, Bill, instead of picnic tables, use different?
using the smaller ones, I mean, and then it could all be condensed into that event trailer.
I see.
Because we have the fold-out picnic tables.
Okay.
They're picnic tables. I think they're maybe a foot shorter than full wooden ones that DPW brings down.
So we're bringing in the park ones, which are.
Gotcha.
Really,
Did we buy high top
Yeah,
tables?
Yeah, we did. And that was it too. So I think we have 2 of those.
Okay, so we need one.
I don't know, Lindsay, to be up for trialing some of the stuff in that event trailer one
Yeah.
time, just to see how it does a
Yeah.
Okay,
better solution, but just a
Yeah.
commentary on that.
good. We happy with the event, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes,
Okay.
they went over really well. Both of them went over really well.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Target business group?
And so we didn't get a chance to meet in August. That got pushed back. We had a scheduled one for the 28th. And nobody could make that date. So we have one tomorrow morning. And so no updates there, but looking to onboard Jamil on
Okay.
that one at this tomorrow.
Okay,
So looking forward to that.
DDA branding.
So the branding committee met for the first time and we kind of walked through goals and objectives. We're meeting again to really finalize those and discuss, what's the scope of the committee? What do we want our hands on? And then, so we'll, at the next meeting, have that laid out. But I do want to point out that we did receive our downtown banners that Sammy worked super hard on. I almost wanted to bring a bunch and hang them up for everybody to see, but we talked to Brandon Prince yesterday regarding, when should those go up? And so I know he was saying, potentially that's waiting till the spring just for weathering.
Great. The weather, and he said snow removal is a lot easier to do downtown with banners not being up. But he will do what the board wants. So if you would like them up now, he will put them up now.
well, we're not gonna take them down in the fall, are we?
No, they don't get taken down. It just is more, snow removal is easier without the banners up, but
They have to
they will
hang the
do whatever.
mums too. They have to hang the mums, so
Which those.
Sammy, Sammy, this has been your.
I always like seeing them up. I mean,
Yeah.
we put things off.
Yeah.
I'd rather see them go up,
Okay.
but I don't know how that conflicts with snow removal when we have banners and mums up now, so.
Well, we've had them up for the last several years, I don't know.
Okay.
And the banner poles aren't coming down,
So,
and that's,
We may need to order some replacements. I do know that there's one out front of this building that was hit when the senior center came through with their bus, so that one is a little crooked.
were you on that bus, Bert?
I was not.
I appreciate the argument, but I mean, they're up now,
Yeah.
they've been up, I don't know.
but we can request them.
He just said it's easier if they're not, but I'll do whatever you guys want me to, so.
Do they want assistance?
Me and Nicole can get out there, and give us a ladder. We can figure it out.
Really good at pointing where stuff goes.
Sure, they would take volunteers. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you want a recommendation from?
I don't think we
I
need.
think.
I think their sentiment.
Yeah, we have a general
Yes,
consensus. We're
yes.
good.
Now?
Bill's the boss, so it's all to Bill.
It sounds like we can do it, so if the board wants to do it.
Okay, do you have an opinion?
No, I mean, I want to see the banners, but.
Okay. But you don't have an opinion. Sir,
I'm happy with it.
Old business, Shine Lights program.
So I just wanted to bring it up. We did get Shine back out, on. It was the first week of August on that Monday. They came out to fix, some of the lights, that were broken. We had Kate from the marina kind of just highlighting, hey, some of these are out. Got them out there. They replaced 16 strands. The overall cost was $970. And so just wanted to bring that up to the board. I know we last year made that consensus that we still want to run with the program, give it some time still. And this is really the first maintenance check that we've had since that decision was made. And so just wanted to get a gut check of the board, and we're still happy with the program, still going with it. Yes, across the board, more or less. Any comments on it?
There was. So,
I am too.
I am too.
I'd like to see it expanded,
Mhm.
and maybe higher things than lower things. In some of the garden areas, but I'd also like to see us find a local company that would consider doing it just. Local.
Yep.
They do a great job.
Just Green, or I'm sorry,
I said just green. Thinking about the landscape
Yeah,
project.
yeah.
Shine does a great job.
Yeah.
Certainly, so.
okay, thank you. Vacation mode promotion. Update. Nicole.
In the month of August, we had $2,726.61 spent. So that comes out to $545.32 per partner. There was a total of 62 cards distributed in August, and then I believe to date, only 64 cards have been activated. The program should be ending relatively soon because I know the airport is closing down for maintenance. I don't recall exactly what date that is. However, we still will see charges through December.
Great. Thank you for the accounting on that. Economic development contract.
So this was discussed at the subcommittee level, and I know that contract ends at the end of this year. And so it is required that there is official board action on that, whether or not continue that. But again, I know that there's been discussion with Carmen, the EDC board, and the DDA, that subcommittee that has kind of worked on formulating that contract.
So some changes on this. A change was that we requested a seat on the EDC board.
Yep.
By either me or a designee. My intention was to make the first meeting this month, but I was unable to be there, so Bruce went. And he is my designee. But I would like to attend one meeting just to understand the structure, but you can obviously Sandy's on it. Andrew's on it, and Bruce, so if they ever want to report or have questions for them. So we need to approve this contract, correct? Okay. Everybody had a chance to review it. If there are any questions? Now would be the time.
Make a motion to approve the contract, the MOU.
Motion from Bill to approve it,
I'll second.
second from Sammy. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Thanks for doing that, Bruce. Fall festival decorations.
So Fall Fest committee requested pumpkins and mums, and the total came out to $361.97. Again, those are for pumpkins, boards and mums to decorate downtown for the month of October. Dana, do you have anything to kind of add regarding the request for decorations?
No, no, I think it's a really fair amount that they're asking, as they've come up with really unique and innovative ways to decorate the rest of downtown with the scarecrow contest. I really give Anita and Denise a lot of credit for what they're doing. I think this is gonna be the best fall festival. So I think that's a really fair amount, ask of the DDA to contribute that to decorating, because it's gonna better the all of downtown.
Thanks, Tiana. Is there an action needed?
Yeah, we would need a motion to actually disperse those funds, though, or like go forward with actually executing that. Because that was a request by the Fall Fest, and so necessarily something that we were going to do. So that's something that we do need a motion to actually follow through.
Where is it in the budget? Which
Downtown
line?
decorations would be the line item.
And where are we on the balance?
We have allocated 40,000 for downtown decorations and we are definitely not near that right now, still early on in the fiscal year.
What's the Garland quote?
The Garland quote remains the same as it was last year.
That's just under five. It's 4,776.
Is this where shine lights comes into play as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't,
I would like to make the motion to approve the DDA to the amount of
61.
397 for the downtown decorations for Fall Fest.
Second.
Motion from Deanna, second from Bruce. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Let's Farms Holiday Garland quote. Traditionally, the DDA has paid for garland in the downtown light posts and bridges.
Yep. Yep, and so
Other-
this is something that, this is incorporating both bridges. There was question regarding whether or not we only paid for one bridge last year, because one of the bridges was potentially out, but that was like 2 years ago, so.
Okay.
This is the same amount that we expended last year for this.
Carl, does that include the lights as well?
Wrapped around the garland, or,
Isn't there lights on the bridge as well around the Garland?
Yep, yes. Okay. They were going out a lot last year, but they were.
I remember that.
And that was how much again? I'm sorry.
$4,776. That was the same price as last year.
Okay.
So that also includes 250 bows, which kind of just keeps a rotating stock. So as the bows start to fade and not look as presentable, DPW switches them out.
Okay.
So who puts those up? The DPW?
DPW puts up.
So we have the cost of the 4,776 plus. Do we pay DPW extra for?
We have not.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is covered in like underneath the enhanced city service agreement, but we have traditionally never issued any payment for the garland being put up.
Well, we won't borrow trouble there. We'll just thank them for doing that, okay?
That's part of it, that's good.
How much we appreciate that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Bill to approve that expenditure.
Second.
Second from Sammy. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item D, ice melt for downtown. Last year, the DDA purchased, a pallet of ice melt from Uline. And I think the shipping was a lot. I think it was like $500 and.
yeah, it was pretty significant.
Annually, Uline does a free freight shipping on orders over $500.
Right now.
It's right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so one pallet is $900, which would be 50 50-pound bags, at $18 a piece. Last year we had just one pallet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if that was not salt, it was blue and it was spread with I think the Kubota on the sidewalks. I don't know, I thought it was nice. It's easier to clean up in stores. It melts ice at a lower temperature, and it dissolves a little bit better. So Bruce liked it for his dogs too.
Is it dog friendly? Is that what you're saying?
It's not officially, they have another one that's a lot more money, but Bruce's dogs liked it, so.
Okay.
Is calcium chloride is better. Magnesium chloride, isn't this one magnesium?
I don't know.
A special mixture, but it needs all of them.
Yeah, it's a lot less rock salt.
So the thought is that the suggestion is that maybe we buy more this year.
Last year it did go, the one pallet, it did go relatively quickly. I think it was about 3 different salt things, and they do River Street, and then they do a couple of those hills going down. Yeah, I think it was about 3 different. I think there's been some discussion about maybe using it more sparingly, but we can work on it. So I feel like we're still in the trial period of this, but one pallet wasn't really enough, so maybe it'd be 3 we potentially do this year, and maybe something like Andrew or, kind of authorize when it's used. Last year we had a significant amount of snow, and that was probably one of the busiest years of snow in the last 10 years, but.
Any Farmers Almanac people here?
I've heard it's gonna be another bad one.
Oh, okay.
That's what everybody keeps saying.
If the size of the acorns are.
Yeah, something with the
indicator
acorns
then-
and the squirrels.
Yeah.
Pine cones.
Guidance. Yes, we have the forecast.
So what the Cal mentioned was that the shelf life, I guess. you said
I
about
read
2
the
years.
shelf life was 2 years. I think that's conservative, as long as it's not in a wet environment.
So it'd be inside. Garage.
If we do move forward with this, I would request that we actually have time to review as to where this would fit
Okay.
budgetarily, because there's not necessarily a nice line item for where this gets out of. Obviously, like it doesn't fit with downtown decorations, but it could be.
That's where it was put last year.
Yeah, so it's something.
Decorations was, like the projects budget, which is why it remains at 40,000. So the justification could be made that that falls under that downtown projects, improvements, maintenance.
Okay. She's justifying it.
It works for me.
Is there, any action we want to take on this item?
We need a motion to approve the increase to 3 pallets.
We need a motion to approve the expenditure, an expenditure period.
We need, I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of the 3 pallets. So.
Is that clear?
Yep, if we do want a motion to amend the budget to add just enhanced maintenance materials or something like that. or-
Well, it sounds like we don't need one. I mean, because if it fit under downtown decorations and there weren't any gripes about it. I think we'll just leave it there. I don't think we should go through the hassle of adding another line item and making the budget look more complicated then.
We could expand the name of that budget line item.
Yeah.
Anything, because any budget improvement does have to go to council, so if we could just change the name of it, I don't think that part needs to go to council, but.
That's a bookkeeping issue.
Yeah.
But we do have a motion.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
A parenthetical description. You know, probably doesn't. But.
Exactly.
Is there a support for this? Support from Bill. And then any other discussion? My suggestion is we enhance the name of that line item. Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. That brings us to public comment again. Okay, thanks again. Board member comments. Sammy, anything today?
No.
Bill?
Just I think, I took off the Riverwalk, just the kind of the final one is that project's complete except for the landscaping. We have one final, there's a component of the consumer's box that's holding up the placement of the final, I guess, shade structure. So that's apparently gonna be 5 weeks out, but should be all done by the December 5th deadline. So, but thanks to the DDA for the support of this project. One thing, just, it's been kind of discussed, but we have those 2 sections of the Riverwalk where we're not able to find that permanent easement. But one thing we may look at is getting a prescriptive easement at some point, probably one. But we'll look at that next couple.
Where's this, Bill?
So the 350 River and then also Manistee area, but just wanted to
Okay.
say
Where's 350?
the music vault.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Prescriptive, just.
So it's just generally used as a path, so it just be kind of a memorializing that it is public area. And I would imagine that when the Riverwalk was done, there was a document we were not able to find in time for the DDA grant. And I still haven't been able to find anything, but for usually when something like this exists, where there's like a public area, usually at some point you memorialize it for prescriptive easement, so just something to put on the radar.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks for the explanation. Bruce, any?
No.
Okay, Lindsay?
No, good.
Deanna?
So I would just like to, I know we've talked before, about the possibility of an event coordinator. I would like to put that back on the table, whether we form a subcommittee just for discussion about it to see if it's something that would benefit? Or do we just put it to rest? And my argument here is an event coordinator. So Lindsay does her own event. That's great. And then John does his own events down there and that's great. But these bigger community events, the Fall Fest, liking to move into, doing more with Frostbite Festival, Forest Festival and Christmas, Sleigh Bell Weekend. So we have, there's kind of like these mixed lines. Whether the chamber is doing events again, or they're being the fiduciary for events, or is the city doing, like, who's doing what? I just think it would be clean and more beneficial as our downtown begins to grow. And we're gonna have more at the east end of downtown with, Scoobies and what the, LRCR is gonna, the tribe is going to be doing all the way down to John's. The River Walk, we're doing a lot of work on the River Walk and we're not showcasing it. Like, do we have an event coordinator that the request would be, that we incorporate all of downtown, that we incorporate our River Walk, that we do more? Because business owners are doing this right now and burnt out is maybe not the right word, but exhausted, like overstretched. We're running our businesses. We're trying to form these events. I'm working with a guy out of Illinois right now for some ice sculpturing going on for, I mean, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work and it's the same people doing all of the work to benefit all of downtown. Whereas if we had an event coordinator, again, it benefits all of downtown. It could benefit greater community events too, like Forest Festival is for the whole community. Maybe we don't only, anyways, I'm just wondering if we can put that back on the table for some further discussion.
I would suggest, Deanna, that if you want to discuss it within the DDA, then you request that it goes on a meeting agenda,
Okay,
so we can discuss it on an agenda item.
okay. Thank you for that
Yeah,
lead.
Yeah, so just send Andrew an email, to say, hey, I want to put that on the agenda, then the agenda goes to Bruce and I for approval.
Sure. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else? Entertain the motion to adjourn.
I'll back up.
You'll make that motion?
Oh, you want the motion? Do we need a second?
I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. Well done.